Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Early Girls Podcast. My name is Terry. You can find me on Instagram at Early Girls Yarn, E-A-R-L-E-Y, Early Girls Yarn, or Early Birds Yarn, E-A-R-L-E-Y, Early Birds Yarn. And on Ravelry is Early Girls Yarn, and then here. So first and foremost, thank you so much to all of you who watched the podcast, commented on it, and followed on Instagram. I'm so grateful and thankful for all of you. Now, I am recording this March 27th because we are leaving for a volleyball tournament. And when I get back from volleyball tournaments, you're just exhausted. It's like getting back from vacation and it's just a lot. So I knew I would not want to record a whole podcast that first day, but that's when the drawing is. It's April 1st. So I will add that and then get this all published. But I wanted to share, I got so excited after finally releasing into the wild my whips. I got some stuff done, not as much as you might think, but I got some stuff done and I wanted to share with you. First of all, suspense needs to be happening no further. If you guessed that I got 3 projects finished and 2 projects frogged, you were right. So that is where I am at with everything. So that takes my count of 24 down to 19 left. So I want to share the first one, which this did not get shared much on the original video. I mentioned it at the very end, and it was the test knit that I was working on. This sweater was that test knit. So I'll be right back. I want to stand up and share with you a little bit more. Okay, so this is the Rodeo sweater by Jennifer Berg. She is the Native Knitter on Instagram. I absolutely loved it. So this test knit wasn't shared a lot on the original video because it was in the basement. I had just dyed the yarn and I don't know if I'd cast it on or not. But this is the test knit that I talked about at the end of that video. So this is the Rodeo sweater. I love it. Now you can tell it's a little bit big. This was not the sweater or the pattern's fault. This was Terry, the test knitter, did not listen to the designers. She said to knit it without much ease, and I'm just not comfortable doing that. And I looked at the finished garment measurements, so it should have been fine, but honestly, I probably will rip it back and reknit it because I loved knitting it, but I'll knit it with like no ease like she suggested, which I think still will have ease. It will just fit better. But I love the color. I love the pattern. I've been wearing it quite a bit. Oh, that's the cat. Hello, Finny B. I've been wearing it out and about. It's awesome. It's a sport weight sweater. So for right now, because it's still cool out, I've got a long sleeve black dress on, and it just flows really pretty with that. So I love the colors of the yarn. This is Early Girls yarn that I dyed. It's sport weight. Love the sweater, highly recommend, but do listen to the designer when she tells you to knit it with not much ease or zero ease. Do that, or, you know, unless you really like it. Like, I just think it just lays better when it's more fitted. And there's no reason to have all this extra, like, on my upper chest. So that's what I would do differently. I probably will rip back and reknit, but not until, like, I want to wear it this season because I love it. And then, you know, end of summer, when we get into fall, that's when I'll decide if I really am going to rip it back and redo it or if I'm just going to let it roll. But anyway, that's my Rodeo sweater by Jennifer Berg, the Native Knitter on Instagram. So my second finished object was a scrappy Sophie scarf. So this was knit with just scraps that were left on my desk. These are leftover Dream State, Spin Cycle Dream State scraps from sweaters, and then leftover mohair from a sweater. I have woven in the ends. I have not blocked it yet, so I think it will get like a little bit longer when I do that. But right now, what I wear it for, I leave it right by my door to go outside. And like a day like today, I don't really need a full coat. So I'll just, like, you know, throw this on real quick to cover my neck while I'm walking the dog, and it's perfect. So I love it. I wish it wasn't as color blocked as it was, but when you wear it, honestly, even that's not a big deal, because when I wear it, like, you know, tied off, which I'm not going to because of my hair, I don't want to style it, but it still looks good when it's all up by my neck. I highly recommend the Sophie scarf if you haven't made one yet. This is my second one. My first one's over there. This one was with, well, worsted, Spin Cycles worsted weight and a mohair. My other one was with a DK weight and mohair, and I love them both. So it's a super easy, super quick pattern. Highly recommend. I don't do a lot of gift knitting. If I did, I would be knitting these for everyone I know because it's fun and mindless. So 10 out of 10, recommend. The other finished object that I got done was, as you all know, I have been going crazy on socks. So I've worn these. So these are, you know, a little stretched, but it was a pair of socks. These are my Grand Canyon colorway socks from Mustache Yarn. And then I use some of my hand-dyed yarn for the heels, toes, and cuffs. I'm not going to get too, they're just a very vanilla, it's a vanilla sock pattern from the Crazy Sock Lady. She does a free tutorial on YouTube. I think it's 9-inch knitting socks on 9-inch circular needles. I follow that. Now I have it memorized, but when I was learning it, I just kept playing that back and forth over and over and over again. And I loved it. That's how I learned how to knit socks, and I love it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I don't even know how many pairs I've knit at this point. Maybe like 10 to 15, 10 to, I don't know, somewhere in there. I'm going to have Izzy pull up all the pairs I've knit for her. I'm going to grab all of my pairs, and hopefully for the next podcast, we'll have a whole sock talk about all the different socks. So I'm going to save that for them. Now, moving on to projects that were frogged. I frogged 2 of them. The first one, I'm sure you guessed, was Breathe in Hope. I did have some people comment saying I should finish it. I don't know. The more I thought about it, if it's been on the needles for 4 years and it was like a 2020 project, I think the pattern itself is awesome. This just wasn't for me. So I frogged it all back, and I'm going to use this on some sock knitting at some point because that's what I am currently really into, and I think it'll be great. So that is my plan for that. My other one that I frogged, probably an easy one to guess as well, was my Inclinations cowl by Adrienne Maree. I love the pattern. I love the yarn. I just had that error, and that was just stopping me from doing it. So I frogged it, but this will definitely be a cast on again because I really, really did like it. I'm trying to remember and make sure I mention bags, but I don't see anywhere who made this bag, or I would be sharing it because I love this one. So I'm not sure who made it. If I find it later, I will definitely mention it. Okay, so that's the recap from my whips. So today is actually Wednesday. I am filming this on Wednesday. I think it's the 27th of March. I literally just got back from dropping off my taxes. Woo! I'm not 100% done with them. I have to track down 3 more pieces. We get extensions anyway, but I feel really good having the majority of it turned in. So that makes me feel good. But one of the things I've decided, because I like fun little acronyms for different days, it goes back to my days in lending. We had different names for different days, and it just has always stuck with me. So Wednesday, I don't know that I'm going to really announce this anywhere, like on Instagram or anything, but for me, because I still have 19 whips to work on, it is going to be pull those whips out, work on whips on Wednesday. So I'm going to show you the 2 that I'm going to be working on. I'm not like pouring every second and every ounce of my life into them. There's no pressure, but just the ones that I want to get out, figure out where I'm at in the pattern, which I will be doing as soon as I'm done recording, and just start working on them. Like, let's just get them done. Let's just have some progress. So the 2 whips that I am busting out to figure out are, well, oh no. This one I'm going to have to find the pattern. Oh no, I just pulled the pattern out. What was I thinking? I almost had a heart attack. Oh. Okay, is my Swancho. And I still have not looked up from forever ago. Let's see. yeah, I'm supposed to knit this for 6 inches. And let's measure. I don't think I have a measuring. I just have my sock one. Will it work for now? Yeah, this is crazy. I'm at like 3.5 inches right now. I have 2.5 more inches, and then the hem for 1 inch. I'm so close. So this one is getting worked on. This is probably the one I'm working on, and just gonna focus on this one because it's so close. That's just silly. All right, so that is the Swancho, the Ninilchik Swancho. All I have is some knitting to do, and then ribbing, and then the little sleeves are like nothing. So that is happening. I'm so glad I pulled up that pattern. I was able to find quickly what I need to do. My next one, you know what? I'm gonna save this one for next time because I will tell you it's my melted baby, or melted Surrey, melted shrug. That's what it's called. It's my melted shrug. But I have one I've already made. This is the second one I made, and I want to show you that to show you kind of what I'm talking about. So that's upstairs, packed away already for the tournament weekend because I have it in the colors for our club. So I will save this one, and I'm going to just work on that darn Swancho. So that will be just fine. This will be for the next podcast because I have plenty of whips to work on. Okay, now I'm going to share so I have a sweater that I'm working on, a shawl, and then my socks. That's kind of how I've got it broken down. I usually always have a bigger project, a shawl, and then it used to be like a cowl or small, and now it's socks. So let me get into that. First, and I should have mentioned, my Swancho was also in a Joji bag. This is the Joji bag. It's called the Santa Cruz. This is my second one. Yeah, I think the pink one is my first. This is my second one. I just got it not that long ago. This is all leather. It's black leather, and then it's got this really cool edge detail, which I love. And I'm pretty sure that's just the inside of the leather. It's like not quite suede, but it is so nice. This is like probably one of my all-time favorite bags I've gotten from Joji. Now she's got a big one, like this is the Santa Cruz, but there's like a big tote one. I think it's almost $300, which is a lot, but after now seeing this, if it should come up again, I will be snapping that up. This one is one, so what I like to do, I will buy them full price for sure, do not get me wrong, but this one I got in a second sale, so I think I got it, I don't know, for like $30 or $40 off. And truthfully, when you get them, I know that, I'm sure there's something that's wrong with it. That's why it didn't make it. I couldn't tell you what it is. So I feel really good when I can get an awesome quality bag and get a little discount. Like that makes me happy. So in here, let me pull this all out because this is something I'm really excited about and I want to share. And while you will be seeing this a few days after I'm recording it, you have plenty of time to join in. You will find out the more that we chat and hang out together. I adore a good knit along. Like it makes me unbelievably happy. And this is no exception. So this is with Lamb & Kid is hosting, they're calling it their Quick KWIK knit along. They're hosting it with a Knitters Collective, I think it's called. Yeah, AKC, a Knitters Collective, which is a Ravelry group. I honestly don't know how a Knitters Collective got put together, but I think it's really fun. So I like it. They were inspired by Kate from Spin Cycle, who put on Instagram one of her whips, which was the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Maed, and she's using dyed in the wool, held with Surrey. So I don't know if you recall, Spin Cycle does a second sale. I don't know if it's more than once a year. I believe it's like around November, like Black Friday, maybe somewhere in there. And I went a little crazy and I got 4 bundles because I'm pretty sure it's half off, I think. Anyway, one of the bundles I got had 5 skeins, all of the same on the low. Let's see. Now see this one, do you see how it's like got some inconsistencies? Like there's some thicker pieces. That's the only thing I see on this one. I'm not sure what the other problems were with the other ones. but I'm here for it and I love it and I don't mind that one bit. So I had dyed up 6 or 7 skeins of Surrey here. I was going to do a sweater that held this double, but this is, I love it, but this is a lot by itself. But when you add it with the Spin Cycle, let me show you. I'm not that far along. You do for the raglan increases. So you do like an increase row, then a knit row, and you do 24. So that'd be like 48 total, you know, when you do both. I'm at the beginning. I'm like a third of the way done with the increases. So I'm not that far. But can you see how the Spin Cycle, you might be able to see better on the back, because the back you did neck shaping, so it's a little longer. But you can see where it's like some maroon colors. Actually, I have found, let me flip it, the inside's easier to see the color changes. But look at that. Can you see the color changes? Isn't that fun? So I'm really excited for this one. I don't know. I might even figure out, I think if it's, it might end up being reversible. I might wear it inside out, because I think for now anyway, at the very beginning, I can see the color changes better. But I love it. Some of them I've seen, it looks more striping. For whatever reason, this one to me looks more like color pooling, which I think is really cool. The Surrey, of course, makes it unbelievably soft and squishy. Now, as I was looking at this, because when you get the second sale skeins in, you don't really, you just get what you get. Like, you have no idea what you're getting. This year I had 2 packages of, I had 20 skeins total. So this group of 5 was the same, and there was another group of 5 that was the same, which is totally awesome, because when you do bigger projects, it's nice to have yarn that's similar. But when I was looking up the yardage, I'm like, I'm gonna need some more. So in comes Spun from Ann Arbor. It's like 30 minutes from my house. It's a cute, cute little shop. It's not even little, I shouldn't call it little. It's a cute shop. And they started Spin Cycle, I wanna say a year ago maybe. So I went in and I had, you know, 3 of my skeins wound up, and these 2 of course say seconds. I'm like, these are from Spin Cycle, because I don't ever want any yarn store to think that I'm like trying to steal their yarn. I've heard stories of people doing that. That is absolutely not me. So I always go up to the counter. I'm like, listen, here's what I've got. I show them my round balls. I show them my project. And I'm like, Spin Cycle is so finicky in that I think for me, you need to like lay it all out. Different colorways look 100% different when they're at different times that they're spun or milled. So it's just important. And they're like, oh my gosh, absolutely. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to pull yarn out. And they're like, go for it. No problem. I love it when the stores and the yarn companies are like that. They're not always that way. Some of them are very nervous and they've got a system and you're messing up the system. And that's what works for them, I guess. But as a consumer, particularly for like a Spin Cycle type of yarn, I need to look at it. I need to look at it. So this store is awesome. You will never guess. I don't think you will anyway. Maybe you will. I could not have guessed. I'm going to hide the name. These are the 2 skeins I ended up with. What name or what yarn do you think it is? It's not On the Low, if you're wondering. They did have On the Low, which is what this yarn is, which was what I had. But when I got their version, or what they had of On the Low, it did not look similar to this. But look how great these look together. I can't even. Now there's a little bit more pink in this one, but it's not gonna matter. When I hold it with this yarn, it's just gonna look like the purple versions of this one. So anyway, these 2 are Pop Click. So I'm like, how fun is that? That's a newer, I've not seen Pop Click yet in person. I don't have any here. So I'm like, how fun that it's a completely different colorway, but I think it's gonna work awesome for this project. I don't think you'll even know. So excited and happy about that. This one I do work on. It's due by, I think it goes through April 27th. So it's not a ton of time, but it's certainly enough to get it done. So I will be bringing this with us to the tournament. We'll see. What I had luck with the last tournament was socks. I know, shocker. But I got them all to like the mindless part where I was just going in the round, and that's what worked. Tournaments, there's just so much to think about. It's hard to work on projects there for me this year. Other years I've had no problem. This year, it's hard for me to work on projects. So I'll bring it because, I mean, really raglan increases are not super thought-provoking things to work on. So I think this might be in a really good place for me to chug along at the tournament. So that is my first project that I'm working on. Let me get that all put back and I'll be right back with the next one. Okay, so here's the next project, and I got it confused. It's not my whip. This is a current one that I'm working on. My whip is still down there that I'll share with you next week, the Melted Shrug. This one is for another knit along. So Andrea Mowry does a March through May knit along every year. It's different things each year. This year it's with sweaters and shawls. Whips are included. I had cast this one on not long before. Maybe it was in March. I don't really remember, but it's not been here for very long. It was not in my whip countdown because I hadn't cast it on yet. But this is the Traveler Shawl. Look at this. This is using Junction Fiber Mill yarn. And the way this pattern works is it's like 2 triangles that so you do this first triangle and then you bind off. And this will actually be the right side. And then on the center, what'll be the center spine, you pick up stitches and then you add the second triangle that goes this way. Isn't that fun? I think I've heard people call it a welt stitch, but it's just knitting and purling, but it creates this awesome texture. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, I think you can. Just this really fun, squishy texture. It's a little bumpy. It is so fun. So I think the first 2 skeins were called, I think, Poolside. I don't have the ball bands. I don't know what I did with them. It's eating through the yarn, this pattern is. So this pattern was made, she hand spun her yarn to make it. And she puts in there, I think it's supposed to be DK. This is a true worsted. I am a good purchaser, so I have a cubby full of their yarn. So I'm not at all upset about it going through yarn because I want to use yarn, so that's fine. I originally thought it was going to be 2 balls for one half and 2 for the other. Well, I still have 50 rows to go on this, and of course it gets longer each time. And I have already started my 3rd skein, which I know this was hydrangea. So there's no orange in this one, but that'll end. If I finish this skein, I do have another skein of hydrangea that's just leaning more purple. And then if I do use both of those, I have blues. It's brighter blues. It's not like a blue-green. It's, you know, a blue. But I've got 2 different blues that I can use to finish out the rest of it. So I'm so excited. I'm loving this one. When I first cast this on, for some reason that I just wasn't understanding or wasn't reading the pattern right. I don't know, but I'm like, Terry, it's Andrea Mowry. She writes a great pattern. Just trust it. Just do what she says. So I did, and then quickly figured it out. So now my brain gets it, and I can pick it up quick, very, very easily and know where I'm at in the pattern, which is great. Yeah, so I work on this. Now, this was getting more love, but it's not I mean, there's a time on it. It's end of May, but that's plenty of time. I don't feel like rushed, like I have to get it done by this amount of time. I don't feel that way about this pattern at all, which is great. It will be in the car with us. I don't know if it will come into the hotel with us. We will see how far I get on some of my other projects. So the only project that I have right now that is like a deadline is the knit along I'm doing with Desert Vista Dye Works. So let me bring out my 2 sock bags and share my sock progress and talk about this. So Desert Vista Dye Works is a dyer out of Arizona. And I say Arizona, I'm pretty sure it's Arizona. I want to say now it could be New Mexico, but I'm 99% sure it's Arizona. So when I started knitting socks in December, people started posting about, I think they were always posting, I was just listening more because then I was a sock knitter, about Desert Vista Dye Works. And she does a yearly sock club. And I'm like, well, what's that? So it's all you do. You can buy the yarn whenever you want. That's not about like getting yarn each month or anything like that. You have to use her yarn, 100% her yarn. And then you knit a pair of socks a month. So you like take a picture of, like, for example, I'm pretty sure this is going to be Izzy's for next month. So I would take a picture of this, like with a band on it. So I know it's all hers. She knows it's all hers. And then you post this like in April, I'll do that. And then you knit on your sock, and then you take a picture of both socks at the end, and then you put them on Ravelry. And she's got like a link or whatever, you know, a page that you post your beginning and end sock in that month. And then there's different incentives and like rewards that you get for each month that you complete. No, not each month. I think it goes by quarter. I think it's after 3 months, then there's a reward. And then after 6 months, there's something. And after 9 months, there's something. After the year, you get a free skein if you get through the whole year. So that's so much fun. So that's my only like deadline. And I'm here for it. I'm all excited. I did get January and February's done, and this is March. So I started knitting on these at the tournament last weekend, and I was maybe like, I don't know, that far, just this cuff and this little bit of the first one. And as I was knitting on it, Izzy's coach, volleyball coach, came up to me and she's like, "What are you working on?" I saw it from like the other side of the court. She's like, "I love it." And I had to come over because she loves blues and purples. And I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna be socks." And I had hand knit socks on that I was wearing. So I pointed them to them. And she's like, "I would love that, but my feet are so big." I'm like, "Oh, what size are you?" Well, she's a size 12. Well, I'm like, "Izzy's a size 11. It's not that big of a deal." So I am knitting these for her. Yeah, I'm really excited. And ironically, when I put this colorway up, because I bought my yarn by contacting my friends and saying, "Hey," that I know that has yarn, that they did this before. I'm like, "Do you have any extra that you want to destash and sell?" Because Susan, the dyer, she, like, when she gets an order, she dyes each order, like when she gets it. It doesn't have like shelves waiting. She just dyes them as they come in. So I didn't know like how, I knew she was behind from the holidays and the dyeing schedule. And I just did not want to feel that pressure of, I want to get this done and I don't have the yarn. Now she did extend it, which I didn't know at the time. So I bought them from people who were destashing. That's how all my yarn came. So when I posted this one, she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so vintage. That's like one of my first ones." She said, "I don't dye my yarn like that anymore. My stripes look nothing like that," which they don't. I've knit 2 others and they're like very measured stripes. And this is kind of just fun, but it's perfect. And my daughter's coach is so excited. I'm giving them to her this weekend. I won't see her Thursday, I'll see her Friday. So my goal is to have them done. My goal is to get them done tonight, because Izzy's like, "I'd really like you to wet block these, Mom, because these are for my coach." I don't know that I really need to wet block socks, but we'll see. If I get them done, we will see. So far, I am like 20 rows away in a toe. So, I mean, it's very doable, but that's where these are at. This is, as I said, my only like pressured or really timed. My other knit-alongs have end dates, but they're not like, if I didn't finish it, then oh well. This one I really want to get done. So anyway, that's my Desert Vistas Dye Work socks. How many socks have I finished this month? I've already finished 2 pair or 3 pair. Yeah, 2 or 3 pair. So this will be, I think, my 4th. And then let me show you the other one that I've been working on. And I know this about myself. I don't mind working on non-self-striping, but I really like the self-striping yarn. It just like knits itself because I just love watching the colors go. So I found that I really do enjoy having one. If I do one that's not self-striping, I really like to have a self-striping one on the needles too. So this is that. This is Mustache Yarn. I believe the colorway is Lemonade Stand. And how it just screams spring, does it not? Like, I'm so happy about this one. This makes me very happy. I just used a mini from the mini wall. At this point, my mini wall, they are all hand-dyed yarns. I could not tell you. I think if I were to guess, it's either Yarnosaurus or Fangirl Fibers from one of the yarn clubs. They like split one a couple years ago and I got a bunch of yarns. I think that's what it is, but I'm not 100%, and I'm 100% okay with that because I'm using the yarn and that's the part that matters. So that is my Mustache Yarn socks. So Shauna Stitches is a YouTuber that I like, and she's on Instagram as well. She has, and this isn't a bad thing, but she has long feet. So does her husband, they're tall. So she talked about doing, instead of 30 or 16, which is like 32 for the heel flap when you go back and forth, she does 42. She does an extra 10, and it gives her more room like over here. So as I was saying, Shauna Stitches is a YouTuber that I follow and listen to, and she loves to knit socks. So she talks about when she does her heel flap, instead of just doing the 32 rows, she does 42, and it gives her more decreases, which like lengthens this part right here. And if there's any part of my sock that is tight, Izzy as well, it's like right above this area. So I tried it. I tried it for the Coach's socks. This is the first one I've tried it for. Izzy did try it on and she said it does feel better. So I'm hoping that that feels a little bit better, and I'm really excited if that does, because it's not hard to do at all. So that makes me happy. Now, every other the first and the third Thursday of every month, the ladies and I meet at Panera, and I adore them so much. I met them at a yarn store, and I just love meeting them and going to Panera because we just chit chat and there's no pressure, because certain yarn stores around here anyway, they only want you to knit with yarn that you bought there. I mean, to each their own, but I like to knit on all kinds of things, and I like to knit on self-striping yarn, which they might not have, or mohair or Surrey, things they just don't carry. And I like to have that freedom, that creative freedom, to be able to knit and work on what I like. So we meet the first and third Thursday of the month. I love them so much. So I was chatting with them and I'm like, oh my gosh, so both of my needles, my friend Lee gifted me, because they didn't work for her. These little, they're 9-inch ChiaoGoo needles. I love them. And I'm like, I can only do 2 socks at a time, ladies, because I've only got these 2 needles. And I mean, you just saw my whips. Like, I was very honest about how many I have. We went through that list. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. What should I do? Because I see posts. I was showing them some different friends that I follow that do like, they've got like 12 socks going on at one time, like for a knitting retreat and all these things. I'm like, that would be amazing, because while I've not been buying a lot of yarn that I could dye, like normal yarn, I have been buying a lot of self-striping yarn for socks, because, you know, I've knit not a ton, but some pairs of socks. And I'm like, oh, now I can buy all the things because I'm a very good purchaser. Needless to say, now I want to cast on all the things. So the ladies are adorable, and they're like, just go buy more needles. Just go buy more needles. So when I got the extra spin cycle, boom, I got two more needles. Now, originally I was going to cast on 2 new socks, and it was going to be glorious, and I might still do that, but we're leaving tomorrow morning, so I don't have all of the time in the world. So the other thing that kind of has me thinking, because I'm making my heel flaps a little bit longer, I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough yarn to do heel, toes, and cuffs in the mini. So I'm like, well, I could use the second needle and just cast this on and make this my experiment and see, and do my cuffs and my heel the same. And then I would know before I did my toe, do I have enough for 2 toes, or do I just do the toe and the self-striping yarn, which is, I have no problem with. That would be totally fine. So that's one thought. The other thought that I'm having is, oh no, if I have more socks, will I need more sock bags? I mean, I do have a bunch of bags over there, but they're not like sock bags. I have one more that is a plaid one from the Prickly Owl. These are both from the Prickly Owl. She's out of Florida. I adore this size. It fits my sock ruler like perfectly. I love it. But do I have to have a sock ruler for each one? No, because once I get one sock done, I don't need a sock ruler. So I have other bags. I haven't looked yet. We'll see how much I get done. So I don't know if I'll be casting on 1 or 2 more socks. The tournament doesn't start until Friday. Tomorrow, we're just driving to my parents' house in Coal City, Illinois, dropping off the dogs in Cece, and then we're gonna go to Chicago. So we'll have like all Thursday night and Friday morning. They don't play until Friday afternoon. So I could get some socks cast on. In the meantime, here are my choices. Let me share these with you because I'm so excited. So my husband and I, our anniversary, it will be our 21st anniversary, coming up April 5th. Will it be? Yeah, 21st. So he is in the middle of an outage. We will not be doing anything, which is totally fine. Like, we will celebrate in good time. It is okay. We are so grateful that he works so hard for our family. Like, that is fine. But in the meantime, I still like to do something. So once I get these beauties off the needles, which should be tonight, I'm going to be casting on one of two things. So here's my thoughts. First of all, I did the sock club from Long Dog Yarn. She's doing, I did a year. I think you could do it monthly too. It is her sock set of the month. This is January. It was White Sands National Park. And I mean, look at these colors. That's blown out a little bit. Let's see if I can get them to, that's pretty accurate. And this top purple, it's like a dusty purple. Actually, this might be, I know it's further away, but that's a little more color, true to color. That is similar to the color of my bridesmaids dresses, which makes me so happy. We had a lot of hydrangeas, like the purpley hydrangeas. I just really liked that. So this could be the cast on. If I do that, I plan on knitting Coffee Talk socks. Now, my friend Lee, who got me into this, she was working on this pattern this last Thursday at the knit group, which made me like, oh, that looks good. Now, she had some modifications that she would make to it if she were to do it again. So, of course, I will be taking all that into consideration, because if Lee says something about socks, I say, okay, sounds good, Lee. So this is one option, one choice. Another one is, I don't know if you saw on Instagram, but I got a very lovely package with 7 skeins of yarn from Night Owl Fibers, which was fun. It was fun to purchase. She has lots of good colors. This one's called Blueberry Frozen Yogurt. And this also has a lot of fun pinks and blues, or not pinks, purples and blues, and like a little bit of yellow. So I really like this. My issue with this is I don't know what I want for like my contrast. Maybe it might be that blue. I think this purple's too dark. I think that's too much of a difference, but it might be this blue. That might be it. Because I don't mind it having a little difference, like a little punch. I don't want it to be exactly the same. We'll see. So that one, I think I would do the heel toe do-si-do pattern for this one. I did that for my daughter's socks, but not for myself. So this might be a heel toe do-si-do. So that's one choice. Izzy, of course, as soon as she was like, at first she's like, Mom, you do not need more needles. You do not need more whips. Do you see your whip list? But then, oh, actually, I will pop in right here. I will show you what I did with my whip bags. So here is our office. I'm not showing you the full room because it looks like a paper war went off with taxes. But here is what I was saying. This is where I put all my whip bags. And you can see there's a little hole up there. I got one pulled down, but these are all my whip bags because I didn't have room in here for them. So I took over space in another part of the house as it should be. So Izzy was like, Mom, yarn is everywhere. You are taking over everything in the house. You do not need more whips. But then she thought about it for like not very long, maybe a few minutes. And she's like, well, Mom, you could cast on another one for me. So she picked out, this is a Long Dog yarn, ironically, and this one is from 2021, Strange the Dreamer. It was her Book Nook club, and Izzy read the book and loved it. So she's like, Mom, I need these socks. I love that book. So she's got to pick out her contrast for her heels, toes, and cuffs on this one, and maybe I'll cast on this one. Another option that's right here. So my cousin Katie, who encouraged me to knit to begin with, well, I encouraged her to become a sock knitter. So she was here, oh, it's probably been 3-4 weeks ago now, right before her surgery. And I got her set up because I had 2 skeins of Kirby Werby yarn, Afternoon Delight. So I had 2 skeins. She ended up purchasing one, and then like I gave her a sock bag. I gave her like all the things so that she could, I went out and bought needles for her, which she bought from me, of course, but I had like it all set up for her. Well, and then this is my yarn, so I wound some up for her. That's what she picked for the contrast. So of course I need to twin with her. I mean, of course, right? So I could cast these beauties on too. So I have lots of choices. So it'll be interesting to see what I finally land on and get ready for this weekend and cast on. And maybe I won't do Izzy's because she hasn't picked out her contrast yet. Maybe I'll do these and my anniversary ones. We'll see. Or maybe I'll just hold off. Maybe I'll just show constraint and just do my anniversary ones, because those I would love to get done by April 5th, which is going to be like in a week and coming up quick. So anyway, that's a whole bunch of yakking. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you spent some time with me. I would love to hear what you're working on, what sock you think I should cast on next, anything you'd like to share. I will be back before this is published, so you'll see me again with the winner of the giveaway from last week. I'm so excited for that, and I'm hoping that you all are having a fantastic day. Please remember to share, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. I appreciate it so much. It helps me get the word out. Right now, we're just yakking about my projects, and we'll always be yakking about that. But at some point, when volleyball calms down, I do want to get the yarn business going at least a little bit, and this will be a great way for me to communicate with you about all of the things. All right, everyone, I hope you're doing great and have a great day. Hey everyone, it's Terry with Early Girls Yarn. Welcome back. It is later. I know I said I would get it all done April 1st, and in a perfect world I would have, but we got back from a tournament, and then our dog got spayed, which is not like the end of the world, but she certainly thought it was, and that took more attention. Everything just seemed to take longer. But I have finally, with the girls, we drew a name for all of these minis and this wound up main skein that I am giving away with the Fizzlicious pattern. And it was, we put all of the comments from YouTube along with Instagram, kind of compiled it all together. And it was someone from Instagram. It was Nancy Drew 77, Nancy Moore, who won. So Nancy, feel free to reach out to me here. Really, Instagram would be an easier way to share information, I feel. But either way, feel free to reach out. I cannot wait to get your package out to you. In full disclosure, I'm going to give her through, I think, April 16th, 17th. We leave this week for another trip, Izzy and I do, to Salt Lake City. The rest of the fam will be here with my mom. So if I don't connect with her in the first few days so I can get it shipped, then it will have to be when we get back. But anyway, hope you're having a great day. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the YouTube podcast, and I will chat with everybody soon. Have a good one.